Hello friends, in this video I want to show you how you can calibrate a pH meter. If you're watching this video, you know perfectly well which other uses you can give to a pH meter in aquariums, in hydroponics or wherever. So I won't talk about that. Maybe in some other video I'll talk about the uses in aquariums. Now, if you like this video, please subscribe and don't forget to click on the bell if you want to be notified about new videos related to aquariums and so on. Now, calibrating a pH meter is a very precise job. You need precision materials, precision tools. And these are the tools we need for this task. This is a Chinese pH meter. Very cheap, inexpensive, quite precise for some needs, but probably it won't last for very long. And for our needs, and for newbies, it can be very useful. It comes in a box to protect it, and where we can store it. It brings a special screwdriver we must use to turn the screw that fine-tunes the pH values when we calibrate the tool. It also brings a brief guide with instructions on how to use it and how to calibrate the values. And it comes in English. At least it's not in Chinese. Additionally, it brings 2 pouches with indicator solutions, pH buffers. We have to dissolve these powders in demineralized or deionized water, which we can buy in any hardware store or supermarket and is very cheap. We need 2 screw cap bottles made of transparent glass to dissolve the powder in 250 milliliters of solution for the pH 6.86 indicator and the pH 4.01 indicator. We also can use a pH 9 indicator, but this pH meter only brings these 2 pouches, something that is quite enough to calibrate the instrument and gives valid results. These bottles must be perfectly clean using demineralized water and after that dried. We need another glass bottle, which can be a bit smaller, which we will fill with distilled water where we can clean the electrode and the part of the meter we immerse in the solutions. We have to clean it to avoid the cross-contamination of the solutions. So, we immerse it in the distilled water, we clean it and we dry it before we put it in each solution. We need a glass rod or plastic rod for stirring the solutions, and we can clean it easily with distilled water. We'd also need distilled water to clean the tools and avoid cross-contamination between the solutions. We need a good immersion thermometer in the range around 25 degrees Celsius. If the demineralized water is below or above that temperature, we'll have to take it up to near 25 degrees Celsius. And we need some container graduated to 250 milliliters to measure the demineralized water we'll use to dissolve the pH buffers. Now, I understand we don't all have a graduated cylinder or beaker like this one to carry out precise measurements. At most, you might have something like this in your kitchen. But you'll see that these plastic beakers, bought at hardware stores, here we have 250 milliliters with great precision. If we fill up this hardware store beaker, we'll see it says it measures over 300 milliliters. So these graduations are of no use if we need a precise measurement. This difference in volume at most will affect the pH of the solutions in about 0.2 pH only, which is no serious issue for our needs. In fact, this instrument has the precision of 1 decimal point when it has to measure a solution with 2 decimal points. If we want to get precise measurements of volume, we can buy a syringe. One can find syringes of 20 to 60 milliliters that are very inexpensive, and with a few loads we can reach the 250 milliliters we require. We will also need some paper towels to dry the pH meter. But don't use toilet paper because, unlike paper towels, it breaks up very easily when wet. The first thing we must do is organize our workplace. We put the test bottles on one side. This is the first one we'll use. And here we'll put the water for rinsing our pH meter and glass rod. We fill the bottles with water. We don't have to measure the distilled water, just enough for our needs. Then we'll measure the amount of demineralized water we need. "25 milliliters for the first solution, "25 milliliters for the second solution." And at this point we should label the bottles for each solution we'll prepare. This one is pH 686. When we finish calibrating, we'll store these solutions so we can use them again in the future, because we will have to calibrate the meter again, maybe in 6 months or after measuring a very high pH. In these cases, after taking the measurement, we should calibrate again. So we write here pH 6.86. And now we're going to store it and use it many times. Here it will be pH 4.01 and 4.01. Then we mix the ingredients. We stir with our rod so they mix well. There still are some crystals there undissolved, and we must make sure they dissolve completely. Oh, while that buffer dissolves, we'll start mixing the other one. When we finish with one solution, we clean our glass rod or plastic rod, if that's what you have, and we dry it. Then we stir the other solution. Now that both solutions are perfectly dissolved, we start the calibration procedure. We dry it and leave it aside. Another bit of paper. And this water is a bit dirty, we throw it away. We'll need a bit more distilled water now. And we start calibrating. We remove the cap, and before anything, we must clean the pH meter in case it brings some foreign contaminant that will ruin our readings. We dry it well. Now we switch it on and immerse it in the pH 6.86 solution. The reading says 6.4, but it should be reading 6.86. So we have to change the reading. In this case, we must increase it. We must place the screwdriver through that little hole and engage the screw it has inside. Then we must turn counterclockwise very slowly till it reaches 6.86. It's not easy to engage the screw and at the same time watch the screen. Okay, 6.9. It's the nearest we can get. Then we remove it. We wash it in the distilled water. We move it around, up and down. And we dry it. Then we put it in the pH 4.01 solution. And here we should be able to confirm it's 4.0. There it reads 4.0. Can you see it? No, you can't. There, it reads 4.0. The value for this buffer solution. So, with this we confirm that the pH meter is well calibrated. Now we remove it. We wash it again in distilled water to remove traces of the buffer solutions. And we dry it with a paper towel. Well, that's about it. There's not much more to it really. Once calibrated, we put the cover on over the electrode, and we can keep it in its little box, well protected for when we need to do any pH measurement. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please remember, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, share it, and bye bye.